Welcome to the mix breakdown of my song, It's Going Down, Baby. That's this week's Music Monday song, and this is a mix breakdown, so this is where I'm going to tell you interesting parts about this mix, things that I think are interesting, and things that I think you might be interested in learning about because they're interesting. So, here we go. In this song, I did a lot of slappity, slap, slap, slap on the bass. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not the world's best slap bassist. If you can or cannot believe that, I don't know. But one of the awesome things that GarageBand has is the groove matching ability. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it means that you can dictate one channel of any of them in your track, and you can tell everything else in GarageBand to follow that one channel. So in my case, what I normally do is make the drummer the thing to groove match, right? As always, all the other instruments should really be following the drums as far as where is the leader of the rhythm section, the drums, right? So if you don't know what I'm talking about, this groove track thing, go up here to the track pull down menu. You're going to come here to configure track header, and at the very bottom, you will see groove track. Mine's already selected because I'm using it, but let me show you how this works. Anywhere you move this star, you can put the star anywhere you want, right? So I want my drums to be the rhythmic leader here. So I'm going to click on the drum track and boom, now you get all these little check boxes on the side. So anything that you see checked on the side, which I think is only just this one track. Yeah, just this one track, my bass. Now the bass will very closely follow the drum beat. Now, like I said, I'm not the best bass player, especially when it comes to slapping. I'm not that accurate. My timing's a little off. I haven't practiced enough that particular style in a very long time. So one of the things that makes GarageBand so awesome is that it can do this for you. It can glue these parts together, right? The bass part and the drum part. However, it doesn't often get it 100% right. It does have a tendency to make decisions that I just would never make as a bass player, especially rhythmically. So one of the things you can do, so after you've turned on the groove matching thing and have whatever instrument following it, you might want to come down here to the editor, okay? So when you're down here in the editing window, you will see that all of the individual beats have been sort of, sectioned off, and you have the markers here, and you can, the flex timing markers, I should say. That's these little lines here, which means that I can move these notes left or right to wherever I want them to be. So let's just solo these guys out and let's listen. Okay, so you can hear some of those are stretching, and in fact, this intro was never touched very much at all, and I think there's something wrong right here. Let's clean up this head here so I don't have too much dead air. Okay, so. Okay. Did I completely miss the note? Where would it be? Okay, so right there. That's what I want. It's kind of a funny one that I missed, the very first one. So it was this little section here. I'll move it back to where it was. And for whatever reason, you can't even hear it. It's kind of strange. It's weird. It's off. So I'm just going to grab it and move it to the left where I think it belongs. And now when we listen to it, it should be, obviously it's going to be in time. And for whatever reason, you can hear it now. So basically what I'm saying is, when you turn on the groove matching thing, it's not always perfect. So you need to go up and down the entire track. I mean, I did sit here and really listen to the vast majority, apparently not the very beginning. But you do want to go up and down and really isolate these tracks and just make sure that the groove matching thing is doing its job properly, because it doesn't always do it great. And it can be a pain if you hear it in a final mix. You're like, oh no, I should have fixed that, right? So let's see if we can find another one to work on. This one sounds a little funny. Okay, so here it got stretched out and cut it apart. So in this case, what I would do is just delete the flex time markers like this, and it will sort of put it all back together into one beautiful note, right? What I find when I find these little mistakes that it has made, what I find is it corrects things that usually were not mistakes to begin with. So I don't know. Listen to it now. Right? You hear that? It's not all choppy and cut apart. Let's keep going a little bit. Okay, so there's another good one. Okay, so this one, boom, boom. Now this is obviously going to want to be on the one, which is there. When it turns purple, you know you're in good shape. There's a few different representations of color here. And, you know, if you're purple or white, you're good. Red, terrible. So that's it. That's basically my secret trick to getting the groove matcher right, okay? Bass tone, of course, I'm using the modern stack lead thing, as I always do. I don't want to talk about too much EQ or compression today. I wanted to talk about that. The vocals. One thing I think is cool about the vocals on here, I've been experimenting more with effects, different effects on my vocals now. I use a lot of reverbs, I use a lot of delays, but in this particular case, I actually used a chorus right out of GarageBand. It's here. I have it on mega wide chorus. It just gives the vocals sort of like a nice stereo sound without it actually being a stereo track. This is a mono vocal track. Here's what it sounds like. It's getting real in here. I'm shifting into high gear. I'm driving. Right? I'll turn this chorus off. It's getting real in here. I'm shifting into high gear. I'm drying no more sad tears. It's going down, baby. Okay. Turn it back on again, just so you can hear it. It's getting real in here. I'm shifting into high gear. I'm drying no more sad tears. It's going down, baby. It gives just the slightest idea of a stereo spread. This is one of the nice things about a chorus effect on a lead vocal. It helps sort of widen out the vocals in a non-intrusive way, right? So I can hit my mono button over here and the vocals are still dead center. They don't sound like too far out on the sides or anything. Again, the mix is at 30% here, intensity is at 89%, and the rate is actually pretty slow. I did not want it doing a huge swirly effect, just wanted a nice stereo effect, and the chorus has done that really well here, I think. I feel her heat on my back, the fiction's turning to back, she's making me go insane, it's going down, baby. Okay, so that's that. Chorus on the vocals, I think were interesting. I'm using the master echo and the master reverb. Those are my other effects because, as you all know, I love the master channel effects. They are good. And I use them a lot, and that's why. Okay, next, the thing I want to talk about is that sort of funky sounding guitar part, right? This thing. Okay, so this is the Echo Studio amp. I don't have anything fancy going on here in the plugins. This is all stock stuff. But that effect, right? That one effect, that is the auto funk pedal, which is basically an envelope filter. One thing I will say is that I did sit here for a while and really dial in how much it was opening, the sensitivity. You know, I didn't want it to open all the way. I wanted it to sound as much like a wah pedal as I could. I didn't really want it to sound like an envelope filter. I mean, it is an envelope filter, so it is what it is, right? But just so you know, sensitivity was set at negative 23.6. Cutoff is at 36%, okay? So without it. Right? It's just a great effect. It's funk. It's standard funk stuff. So the nice thing about having the sensitivity down low is that it means it'll only open on the hottest parts of that guitar track, right? So when it's not opening, it's sort of closed, right? And it's just not that bad. This particular envelope filter doesn't close so far down that it becomes unusable tonally, right? It's a pretty decent envelope filter, actually. I kind of wish I could buy this and put it on my pedal board. It's a good one. I do have a couple of envelope filters that I like as well, but this, as far as a virtual thing, this thing pretty solid. Okay, next thing I want to talk about. I'm moving quickly because I got a slamming busy day here in the studio, but I really wanted to make this for you guys. Oh, last thing I want to talk about. That outro, okay? Let's get to it. Where is it now? Is this fun yet? Is this fun watching me do this? Okay, there it is. Look at that. Oh, I'm like way stretched out here. So, as you can see, this and this, right? These two tracks right here have been heavily edited. So let's listen to them as solo channels just for a second. Okay, so when you do this, right, I highly recommend just edit them. Do not worry about fade-ins or fade-outs. It's that sort of thud effect that comes at the end of the edit, right, after the track is gone, right? It really creates a cool rhythmic thing. One of the reasons that I wanted to do this is because, again, my bass track was not as accurate as I would have liked. And I'll just let you hear it. It's a little on the sloppy side. It's pretty good, and the Groove Matcher is not on that. In fact, I did have to play that for a while to get it just, I wouldn't say just right, but to get it this good, and that's not even that great. So as I was working on the song, I was like, I really need that bump, I really wanted that rhythm to be like sharp and hard, right? So that's where it came to my head, oh, I should just edit the guitar part apart. In fact, I think I was like, first, let's add a guitar part. It needed it. And I tried to do it without all the edits in it. And I can just let you hear that really quickly. It sounds like this. Right. I mean, it's good. It's not bad, right? But with the edits in there, check it out. And you have the second guitar coming in on the right-hand side. Let's look deeper at these edits just so you understand where I was hitting the cut button, or the split track button, as I should be saying. So as you can see, I'm cutting off the ends of the waves and everything. I mean, it is a dramatic cut. And in this case, the beginning of the wave, some of the tops got cut off, most of the endings got cut off. But that's what makes this sort of chopping effect so interesting, I think. And you do get this like thud sound just sort of inherently with an edit like this. Something most engineers would be sort of working against, but it's a technique, especially in like metal and heavy music. This is totally something engineers do. So you should try this. So it's basically, you just want to make sure you're hitting right at the beginning, right, wherever the first strum is, and then at the last beat right after it, right? So after the last strum. So soloed out sounds like this. Right? Heavy edits. So now let's talk about the tones a little bit. So this was Stadium Spread. This is something I normally use for a lead tone, but it ended up as a rhythm tone here, right? And I believe, let's see, did I do anything here? Okay, I got rid of the splitter. I believe there's like the mixer that splits this left and right, and I got rid of that. I have both drives going, and I have it panned, to the left, probably around 20. Yep, exactly. So then the right side comes in, and this is the time to shred effect. I don't really think I did anything to change this. I might have, I turned on the compressor to crunch guitar, And I probably did bring this threshold up to, well, negative 27.5. All right. So I did turn on the compressor and dial in a crunch guitar compression on there. Besides that, I don't really think I did much besides turn off the reverb, turn off the echo. I didn't want any effects on this besides the distortion. Tone, I probably turned up just a touch to get a little bit brighter. But when it comes to these like heavy metal tones, because I'm not a heavy metal tone expert, I really like to just sort of trust the GarageBand presets here. Again, these presets are wicked awesome, so totally trust them. You can trust them. They're good with just the most minimal amount of switching around, just a little bit of playing here and there. Don't move anything a lot. But if you're like, oh, I wish this guitar tone was a little bit brighter or whatever, you can add a little bit of brightness, roll out a little low end, whatever you need to do. Just don't do a lot of it because these tones are awesome. But the interesting thing about this second guitar track is that it's not panned evenly. I wanted this section to be a little bit, it was supposed to be dramatic, right? It's this big, long crescendo. So where is the first one? 20 degrees on the left. And then the hard one. And then the one on the right is hard right? So it's plus 63. It's all the way over to the right. So that's what made that section so rhythmic and so tight. It's those edit points. I did it on both of them, as you can see. And now let's talk about the slide guitar part, and let's turn on the automation so you can see what happened there. And I'm just going to let this roll. We are looking at these 3 tracks right here. Okay, so just watch this for a second. Super fun. I love the ending of that section. It's just so sort of like the de-evolution of the song or the section. It just sort of falls apart. I totally did that on purpose. Really, really fun. If you're curious about like what I was doing on guitar, I was like literally just like hitting the guitar in some places. I think this track has the most interesting. This is what it sounds like. So there I was just doing some finger tapping, not in time, not in key or anything. It was supposed to be this sort of part where it's falling apart. The time to shred one. Now, one thing about the time to shred is the noise gate is set super high. I mean, it's negative 24 dB. So it's really, really cutting in and out at the ending. And it's something that I think made this section a little cooler at the end. Check it out. And that's me just hitting the guitar. Like I was just like blah, 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 like smacking on the neck and doing like random stuff just to make it a little more chaotic, okay? So let's keep going because I think there was one more thing I wanted to mention. Oh, I know what it was. My Patreon page. No, I'm kidding. No, actually, let's talk about the slide guitar. That's what I wanted to talk about. Slide guitar. Check it out. Okay, classic drive, always a great go-to effect preset in the distorted guitar section of GarageBand. Not much happened here. I just turned the Rotophase on for once, and it's a great sound, you guys. It's such a great, this Rotophase pedal is so good. But one thing I just want to talk about musically about this. So this is this moment. It's this big, large crescendo in the bridge. It needed to have a musical theme. Okay, so it's this guitar part, do 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 do, right? So I didn't want to repeat it exactly the same every single time, but I wanted it to still sound like a theme. It should basically sound like the same thing, but with a few variations every time. So it's not boring, but it's also familiar, right? So it is constantly evolving a little bit, but it is repetitive because repetition is one of those things that will really hook a listener. Here we are like 3/4 of the way through the song. If you've made it to this point in the song, I'm desperately at this point trying to keep you interested in the song. So repetition is one of those things that will help a listener sort of stay engaged. And so I did that, with this part, but again, with slight variation. So it sort of kept it interesting, however, repetitive. Okay. So let's just listen to that again, because I love that slide guitar part. Saying? Oh, I know what I forgot to mention that's kind of fun. On the bass track, check this out. You can't really hear it all the well in the mix. I mean, it was sort of that way on purpose. It's the standard master channel echo because it's in time already and it's totally fine. I just wanted it to get a little bit more chaotic on the bass part. So the echo is going from like 0 to 100 at the end there. Same with the reverb. So when the ending of this part comes, let's just sort of... as well as it starts fading out on volume. Just something I thought was worth mentioning as, because, that's the whole point of mix breakdowns. I just want to talk about the interesting stuff now. I used to go through every nitty gritty detail and make these like half-hour long videos that when I watch the audience retention, not that great. So I'm trying to hit specific interesting points and see if this engages you guys a little bit longer in these videos of mine. This was a super fun song to write, super fun song to perform. The style's changing all the time here on Music Mondays, and because it's fun, and I love making music that is entertaining, as well as sad music, as well as folky music, whatever. I like music of all styles, and I'm really glad. Somebody suggested on the video last week that I do like a slap bass thing. He was actually looking for more of like a 70s funk thing, but this is what I came up with when I started like trying to write a slap bass thing. So not exactly 70s funk, but still a very fun song, and I'm glad that you all enjoyed it. Yeah, that's the word, right? Enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure that's it. All right, you guys. So that wraps it up for today. I hope you got something interesting out of this very scatterbrained video that I'm just now making. It's been a crazy day here. I haven't had a day off in about 3 weeks. I've been traveling. I've been doing mixes for people. Don't forget, I mix and master for people too here in my studio. I'm doing that like crazy right now. 'Tis the season. Anyway, patrons, you guys are the best. You are making this channel survive. If you guys like these mixed breakdown videos and want them to continue, find the Patreon page and contribute on Patreon, because that is what's going to keep these videos going, because there is no ad revenue coming in from these videos. These mixed breakdowns maybe pull like 30 cents or something. So it really is the patrons out there who make these videos possible, and so thank you to them. And now I really got to go because I have a client coming into this room tonight to record and I have to clean. All right, peace and love.